1.
They essentially reworked the final year of his contract. They tried to do a long-term extension. The Chiefs and Jones worked at it. They couldn't bridge the gap financially, so they settled on a new 2023 contract.
He's back on the field. If you're a Chiefs fan, that's all you care about. If you're a Chiefs player, that's what you care about. But Chris Jones was looking to make bank like Bosa did, and about as far from that as you can get.
I don't know if he just finally decided, all right, we've reached a point where I'm just going to cut my losses and get back to it, because we also know getting back out on the football field is probably what he wanted to do, but was where we have seen this offseason a lot of these holdouts work out for guys. It did not work out in the favor of Chris Jones.
It's a short punt. Gibson on the return. Near side. I don't see any flags. Gibson inside the 30. Hits the Jets. And he's going to go. Just win it. Touchdown, rookie Xavier Gibson.
It feels like the last time we've seen Aaron Rodgers on a football field, just because of what it would take to recover from said injury and get back to playing near close to an MVP level. And a big part of when players decide to walk away, especially with players that have the kind of legacy that Aaron Rodgers has, is they want to be remembered at the pinnacle of their sport.
I think this defense will be pretty good, especially when Von Miller gets back, but they cannot get to where they want to go the way he played last night.
Yeah, it was awesome. With about 300 to go, I told her where she's at, and if she could go, she would have a chance to break 1830, and she definitely took off and got under 1830.
Line drive, base hit to the left center. Swanson scores. Around third and racing home is Happ. Here's the throw, the slide. He's in there. Cubs take the lead.
Hey, good afternoon. And good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. It's a show where we play a game every day called Are All the Green Buttons Down? Sometimes if they're not, you get that happening. Welcome into the Tuesday show. Steve Webster with you. A full studio on the opposite side of the glass here today. We have Aaron Clark, Mike Corson, his last show before his media run in Oregon, Mike Hesher, manning the controls, and a guest in the studio today is Hesh's replacement.
Thank you. He's my replacement. So Landon is here learning what to do and probably do it better than I do.
Landon Winkler. He will be in here in a week or so when Hesh starts to serve his 6-month sentence in Colorado. So
max security.
He's going out to Pueblo.
I'm going to Canyon City, I believe is where it's at.
Yeah, nice one. They've got plenty of homes out there. Okay, welcome to the program today. We had a full show planned. And maybe it'll still work out. We don't know yet. There's developments. We do know that Cole Reif will be here. We'll talk Houston Cardinal football today. And the other two that we had lined up today, we'll just have to wait and see, okay? So there'll be guests to be named later.
I love the intrigue. It's a nice little bit of, who could it be? Tune in later to Sports Day to find out.
How will they fill an hour?
We have Aaron Clark. Enough said.
You know, you got to be a senator. I mean, if someone in the Senate needed a filibuster, man, I'm telling you what, man.
I'm just saying I was told that when I was a high school football player in recruiting. A college player told me, he was like, you could be a politician with those answers.
We'll grind through it here today. Plenty to talk about here on the program. With our Tuesday sports headlines, and as always, the always popular sounds of the past 24 hours. You guys ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Landon? Okay, all right. Thumbs up from Landon here today. Okay, Chris Fowler. Jeremy Fowler.
Yeah, I heard
Chris
that
Jones.
this morning.
I saw that. Both of you guys looked okay. Yeah, no. Jeremy Fowler talking about Chris Jones, who came to an agreement yesterday on a contract. He and Fitzsimmons, ESPN, kind of surprised by the terms. And you also heard from Gabe Neitzel. Chris Jones accomplished nothing with his holdout. Hang on.
He's champing.
He's champing at the bit. Okay. Go.
The last comment, like you said, didn't really accomplish anything. That's what my whole takeaway from the thing was. This kind of a contract would have made a lot more sense if it came in week 8 of the holdout, and it's just, all right, let's get him on the field, whatever it takes, get you on the field, get this done, and at the end of the season, we're parting. But he didn't even get a base salary raise. His base salary for this year is still $19.5 million. He does have an easier path to get up to $25 million now, but he has to get, I think, $22 million to make up, remake up for the losses that he's already incurred from missing points of the season, and still doesn't even have the assurance that he's not going to get franchise tagged. A lot of people thought when the 1 year came out, there's going to be a clause that says, all right, at the end of this season, Kansas City can't franchise tag him. They're going to have to either pay him or move on. That's a possibility that he gets the franchise tag next year, and they're right back in this situation of he doesn't want to play for that much money, but he might be forced to. It's a very weird contract. The holdout doesn't make a lot of sense now, but I will say
it never did, Aaron. It never did because, I mean, by the time he does get 7 game checks now.
That is true. He doesn't have to make up for those missed games. But I was expecting him to want more, and this just seems like his representation maybe kind of fell apart. And I'd be interested to see if he
if he didn't report, then he'd be under contract for next year.
Well, if he didn't report at the 8-game mark.
Correct.
It doesn't seem like the kind of thing that he is going to be happy with to be playing on. From what we heard, what he wanted in the structure of his contract, to not even get a guaranteed more money this year after this big, extended, drawn-out holdout feels like a win for the Chiefs. It feels like the organization.
Well, it wasn't. I didn't think they were going to give him. I didn't think they were going to give him a long-term contract. I thought maybe they get 2 years.
And that's what I was still like. You and me had talked about a couple of times on the morning show. Just a 2-year deal similar to what the guys had been getting, but just not a full 4 years. But to not even get another year, because it's not like he got a 1-year extension. It's just a reworking of the year that was already on his contract. It feels like Chris Jones
incentives. Go out there and get some sacks.
He does.
And stop,
I think there's one for
run. And
if he can get 15 sacks, I believe that's $1.5 million. So that comes out. I mean, that's $100,000 per sack for him if he can hit 15. But that's a high bar to reach.
I can't relate to being a professional athlete, but I can relate to not wanting to work in the heat. So you can say he got nothing out of it. He was watching his teammates when it was 105. It's 75 now. Well, he can come out and play. I'd pay $1 million for that.
What kind of teammate's that?
A bad hit. Exactly right. I'm not a fan.
I was expecting Chris Jones to hold out for something, and just kind of seems for nothing. But kudos to the Chiefs organization for being able to stay strong, stay stalwart in negotiations, and they come out looking pretty smart.
They watched the Rams jump off the Empire State Building. They didn't have to either.
And that I don't think the Rams are upset with where they're at. I just want to point out, winning a Super Bowl generally is the culmination. That's when people are like, oh, and now the Rams are terrible. I don't think, especially the Rams ownership, I think that's how a lot of owners would want to do it, be competitive for about 3 years, maybe win a title in there, and then not have to pay guys a whole lot.
Oh, the Royals, I mean, that's...
There you go. Well, yeah, exactly. Then we're going to stink for 6 years.
30 years.
And then we'll start to build it back up again. No, I'm glad the Chiefs didn't cave, and we'll see if Chris Jones is going to be motivated to play.
And it's not like the defense played that bad against the Lions. They
hurt them on
14
depth.
points.
It hurt them on depth quite a bit. I think, as you go on in the game. I mean, obviously missing Travis Kelce was a heck of a lot more than missing Chris Jones.
And then, like you said, you started to notice it more later in the game, but how much of that tiredness is just early season? As the year goes on, those defenders get in a little bit of shape, but having Chris Jones back will be great. Hopefully Chiefs can get back on track in week 2 against the Jaguars.
Like in high school, if you miss practice ladders and whatnot, do you think this week he's out there running lines?
No.
Oh, I do wonder what his workout ethic was while
he was working out.
He was claiming he could have played. He could have stepped onto the field last week and played.
Well, I'm sure he could have stepped on the field.
Well, true, but he was saying played, and play at a high level was the insinuation from Chris
now
Jones.
The concern is you come back, okay, he's going to play, and now he's going to get hurt. Right?
And that, especially missing some training camp, he's going to have to get regular season to kind of use to get tuned up, which who knows how much he would have played in preseason anyway. But gonna have to get
Yeah,
some.
but you're still practicing.
Yep, it's gonna have to get back in game shape without having the tune-up period of that preseason.
Andy Reid hopeful that they'll get Travis Kelce back. So against Jacksonville.
And Jacksonville looked pretty all right in week 1. We're able to beat the Colts. I know Trevor Lawrence put up a very impressive game. He's looking pretty good after had that rocky first season with Urban Meyer, but now Doug Peterson.
Where's an easy game for the Chiefs at?
I hope Jim Masunis is listening. Week 3 against the Bears might not be too bad for
I
him.
know their first venture into the black and blue division was not good. So
It was not, but Bears looking like they might have a little bit of some struggles. Might be that could be a nice tune-up game for Chris Jones against the Chicago Bears interior offensive line that did not look incredible last Sunday.
Okay, we always have walk-off home runs. How about a walk-off punt return last night? Monday Night Football. Xavier Gibson takes it to the house from 65 yards out, and the Jets beat the Buffalo Bills 22-16. The result probably wasn't maybe a surprise. I mean, there was expectations for the Jets. Of course, the bad news is the franchise that is cursed, they probably lost Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the year. He tore his Achilles last night, the 4th play of the football game, and now back to Zach Wilson.
His Jets season lasted all of 75 seconds. So Aaron Rodgers going to be out the rest of the year, and just incredibly, hilariously ironic because the Jets were so determined to not come into this year with Zach Wilson at quarterback. They needed someone better. They go out, they trade for Aaron Rodgers, and they get him for 4 plays.
And there was all the hubbub of was he going to play again anyway, and goes through all this and then last 4 plays. But I'm a fan, so it really does stink. You watch the game, it was 9-11 in New York. He runs out with the flag. I'm guessing for a lot of people in that stadium, that was a really moving moment.
Yeah.
This is our team this year. That's our guy. And you can't even comprehend how deflating that is.
You figured up per play and things like that, so what's the going rate for Aaron Rodgers this year? 4 plays. What do you get paid per play?
It's going to be close to $11 million per play because I'm pretty sure he's making right around $45 million to play this year.
The other thing with the Jets, Breece Hall, excellent last night, over 10 yards a carry, and they weren't always easy carries. He's almost getting Barry Sanders-esque back there, little dancing in the backfield, fancy footwork.
I also like the way the Jets were using Breece Hall with Dalvin Cook. They signed him in the offseason, and they let him come in and spell a little bit. Both Cook brothers, as James, running back for the Buffalo Bills, also looked good. I was a big fan of him coming out of Georgia. He was a big part of the first national title of the back-to-backs at Georgia. Good running back game last night.
ESPN's Chris Canny says we may have seen the last Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Achilles, you're 40.
And just he's had a lot of those lower leg injuries over the past couple years. They've kind of been hampering him, and now
he's old.
And he's old. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Old.
And
kind of
normally,
like a nail in the coffin almost.
Normally you'd say, like, yeah, leg injuries have been his Achilles heel, and now you can't because it was.
I did.
Very good. Mike Tannenbaum, talking about the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, why isn't he that bad when he plays the Chiefs? Maybe because the Chiefs' defense isn't as good. I don't know, but, man, he was horrible last night.
He got pressured on the 10th lowest rate. Only 26% of his dropbacks were pressured. That's 10th lowest rate in the NFL. He was still 5th highest in sacks, 3rd highest in QB hits taken, and he had threw 3 interceptions, all to Jordan Whitehead, who got his incentive bonus last night. For the season, he had an incentive, 3 interceptions for $250,000. This morning, Jets safety Jordan Whitehead cashing it in off of Buffalo Bills' Josh Allen.
Yeah, what was Allen's cut of that, do you suppose?
Now, that's the question we need to be asking.
But who's to say that Whitehead wasn't exceptional? And
he did look very good, but
Allen, but
some of those throws were into double cover. At least 2 of the interceptions Whitehead got that I can remember off the top of my head were into just double coverage. Josh Allen trying to force something, and with a team that has a lot of talent on it. The Bills, one of the things that makes the Bills so compelling is they're a talented roster generally. And it's just he's trying to play a little too much into himself and needs to trust his teammates a little more.
Who had the bet that Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Buffalo would all lose in the first week?
Yeah, exactly.
Ouch.
That's what I was going to say. Those three teams right now, I mean, they're 0-1 to start the season right now. So in the South, you've got Jacksonville. They're on top, right? And then Houston, Indy, and Tennessee all 0-1. And Baltimore and Cleveland atop the North. Las Vegas is atop the West.
Like everyone expected, the Vegas Raiders were the only team to win from the AFC West in Week 1. That's what everyone had.
And Miami, Miami's 1-0. The Jets are 1-0. And there's a lot of 0-1s in the AFC right now.
And there are a couple of big surprises around the league because the Seahawks lost to the Rams last weekend too. Got beat 30-13. Rams not expected to be much of a team this year. It's kind of a stars and scrubs.
Green Bay's kind of rebuilding. You have Jordan Love coming in, and they look awesome. So the Packs won. Philadelphia, Washington, and the Dallas Cowboys.
That's how you start a season. 40-0 over a division rival.
Not a good.
It was a tough couple hours at MetLife Stadium.
Well, what about New York football fans?
It's just hard.
You have the Giants, and then you have the Jets last night. Lyles Lashley talking about a tremendous performance. Addie Nicholson. And that's a big meet they were at, right?
It's actually really, really big.
But
normally
it's
you might
people
see
from all over the Midwest, right? Schools?
It was Kansas and Missouri basically,
Okay.
but it was mostly the best teams. But if you look at our meet, what was it? 19 teams, and we consider that a really big meet. This one had 41, and not only were there that many teams, but some of the premier athletes. So it'll be fun to see. I always like to see Great Bend win. So you don't go up there expecting to win unless you're just crazy good like Olathe West. But coming back to Buhler, be kind of fun to see. But once again, Addie's going to have to run against Caitlin Roop from Salina Central.
And it was crazy seeing results from the Twilight meet they went to because I think like 64th scored points at this meet. Like that's how many runners there are, like the 64th person to finish, which that's a pretty long group to finish, but there's still people finishing like 132nd, like after that even. Just so many runners in one race.
Yeah, and I believe they cut quite a bit of time from their first race, so you can see 64th or whatever it was and be like, well, that's disappointing, but in reality, it was just a field.
And the call last night on WSCR, Jan Gomes, a single to center, lifting the Cubs to a 5-4 win over the Rockies. And the Cubs right now look like they could be headed to postseason right now. They've got a 2-game lead right now over Arizona's the third-place team. So the Cubs right now at 3.5 games above San Francisco for that final wild card spot. Philadelphia, the Cubs, Arizona have the wild card spots right now in the National League. In the American League, it's Seattle, Boston. No, it's Tampa Bay. Now, wait a second. Seattle, that's not right. I got the wrong sheet here. Tampa Bay. Oh, wild card teams. Okay, Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Texas. I'm like, there's no way the Yankees are in there. Yeah. So Seattle's now a half game behind Texas. It's kind of been a year not to pay attention much to baseball, you know, the Rockies, the Royals, and the Cardinals.
I-70 corridor. That's what I got to pay attention to over the summer, and it was not the most upbeat of summers to follow that. Those three teams.
Okay, the Royals got rained out yesterday. They'll play a doubleheader today, and we'll start our coverage at 3 p.m. here on KVGB. And there's still a lot to play for, Aaron.
They are trying to not have the worst record in Royals history. Right now, they're sitting at 44-100. They got 22 games left.
So they have to go 13-9?
Yes, they got to go 13-9 over their next 22 games.
My bet is you're looking at the worst Royals team in history.
It is certain. However, they only need 12 more wins to hit my 56-106 prediction on the head.
You don't get any more pizza just because you hit it on the head.
Why did we get pizza today?
Because you won last year for the baseball, right? And Aaron's got, you had the best
Sounded
record.
good to me.
Well, and then Aaron has
I think you're thinking Chiefs.
Oh, that's right. It was the Chiefs. My
Yeah,
bad. Okay.
okay.
My apologies. And then Aaron had the closest record to the Royals.
Who didn't get any pizza?
Corson and I and Jim.
Who's buying the pizza anyway?
I got a lot of pressure.
Hash bought it.
I'm just saying.
What was Landon's pick? He didn't get any pizza either.
I got a lot of pressure now. I'm 1-0 in my picks. I wasn't here for last season's Chiefs pick.
Well, you were here for the Super Bowl.
Oh, I thought we were talking for the regular season. I thought this was for your pick from the
were
regular
saying,
season.
well, I'm 1-0 on my picks.
On the
but
regular season
In
picks.
fact, you were
the posted ones. We didn't
Well,
have
I don't
the
know.
Chiefs
You sat
one
there-
posted.
You talked about the Eagles for like.
And they lost by 3 points.
And you got
You're acting like they
red-faced the
didn't
whole
stand
time.
a chance. It was a 3-point game. They covered the spread.
And I don't think he has much of a chance to win the football regular season because you got 4 people all with 12-5 marks for the Chiefs, and I'm not sure they're going to make 12-5.
They're going 12-5, and they're going to be 4-2 in division.
Okay.
There you go. Sam.
Law of
Fast
averages, they
24
have to
hours.
come back to the normal sooner or later, correct?
That is the new normal for the Chiefs, baby.
Oh.
Okay, there you go. Sounds the past 24 hours or so. Let's see. Sports headlines. Lady Cougar volleyball team getting a 5-set win last night over Seward County. So they're now 2-1, 12-3 overall. So good win. They hadn't been able to knock off Seward in a while. Again, you mentioned the Royals, right? Okay, they're done. Okay, Mike Corson. Is this your suit? You're going to wear the KVGB shirt for the race next Sunday.
Sunday morning on NBC. Yeah, I think I'm committed to it. So I'm stretching it out a little bit so I can breathe in it. I don't know how they wear those.
Well, I thought you were going to wear your shorts today. Are you going to wear
I'm a company
shorts?
man.
Are you going to shorts and high socks?
You got to get tubes with the old, a blue stripe on the left knee and a red stripe on the right knee.
Since I can't actually run, I just need to look like I can run. What do we think? Compression socks? Will it make me look old, or
will it make you look
maybe one of those
podgy?
copper bands?
How do you want to look?
Hey, I always
Do you
thought
want to
my-
look like a guy that people that you're that they? I mean, I don't know how the heats are set up. I mean, you could be the guy that's going to get the win, or you could be seated at the bottom of your heat.
My
So in
problem
that
is
case,
I
I
told
would-
them a time that's unattainable for me. So if they put me in a group full of people close to that time who are also half legit on their times, I'm going to be the last guy walking around the track, which is I should have sandbagged it so I could at least win my heat.
You just got to
Come back a
remember
champion.
the words of Hesher's favorite coach, Coach Prime. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good. You just got to look the part when you get out there, get down on your marks on the track. You'll do incredible. You're going to come home with the gold for KVGB.
No, and if you Google the A skips, B skips, they're really cool looking. And then before the race, you can kind of jump on your heels, which maybe Aaron Rodgers should have done, activate the Achilles. So I think I can do those things, and they'll probably be like, I don't want to race this guy. So then when I pull up lame, it's going to be a hammy. We know that.
What kind of shoes do they wear? Are you going to wear like a pair of old high-top Chuck Taylors?
I do think a lot of the 400s wear basically, they look like tennis shoes, so I'm planning to wear the ones I got on now.
So you're not going to go high tops and compression socks. I would kind of find out who was in my heat, kind of look and see what they were like. If it looks like you're going to go down, I'd go ahead and go the compression socks and the high tops.
Does anybody have one of those little rubber bands I can slip around my knee? Maybe both of them. I
Okay.
still don't know about eye black. I got to research this before. I don't want to be a fool with the smears.
Eye black.
Just make sure it's
8 in the
regulation.
morning.
Get a pair of big glasses, put them on there, and get down in your stance.
Oh, and then if you ever watch on TV, they do all kinds of cool stuff when the camera pans around to them. So I got to come up with some
You got to practice your running face. You don't want to look like a goof out there with a silly expression while you're making the curve.
Mike Corson in the media race, Eugene, Oregon, on Sunday morning. I don't know if it's going to make NBC or not, but maybe it'll have. If you like have an accident or something, they'll probably say, "I'm from the media race earlier today."
Yeah, either I have to do something humiliating or I have to break that 42U record.
There you go. All right. Your sounds, headlines, updates. Cole Reif coming in next on Sports Day.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Zach Strite, commercial lender for Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people. I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. At Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Barton Community College is excited to announce the expansion of the welding program with an Associate of Applied Science degree and a 2-semester certificate. With our expanded offerings, you'll gain knowledge in welding techniques, safety procedures, blueprint reading, and more. Get hands-on training from Barton faculty with industry experience, ensuring you develop the skills needed to excel in your career. Now enrolling. Learn more at welding.bartonccc.edu.
Extend the life of your equipment with the best warranty program and risk management tool in the agriculture industry. The Cenex Total Protection Plan covers new and used equipment. Receive up to 10 years or 10,000 hours of engine coverage when you use Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster premium diesel fuel and synthetic lubricants. With no deductible, the Cenex Total Protection Plan provides unmatched coverage to give you the power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor, today.
He's the voice of Hoisington High School football, the Barton County Cougars, and the king of the tweeter machine. It's Cole Reif on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
What?
It's usually this time of the day I'll get a text message from Todd Moore or Brandon Smith that they're getting excited about the show, giving me a hard time. And this text message made me chuckle a little bit.
So, share.
Guys, hide your women. It's Cole Reif. Oh yeah, and Smitty and Todd tell Landon Winkler hi. They usually like to give him a shout out during the winter, during basketball season before I sign off with my rap.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, with your rap, this is Cole Reif. And they'll be like, good job, Landon, good job. Like, shut up, guys. Leave Landon alone.
Landon Winkler in studio today. When Hesh leaves, so he's in her study today. Okay, I have both the voices of the Cardinals for the first 2 games. So it really worked good yesterday because Aaron and Mike Corson were both at the Hayes High Great Bend game. So they kind of had a good conversation between them. So
did they have different views of the game? And
they brought up different things. Yeah. It was really compelling radio. I sat there and enjoyed it. So why don't you begin today, Cole, by asking Hesh a question about interview Hesh about Cardinal football last week.
Yeah, I mean, my eyes were on the tape. His eyes were on the game last Friday. So for me, from what I could tell, it seemed like Terran Kraft in the run up the middle was very strength. So, I mean, I don't think they really stopped the dive play. Didn't get out to the edge as much. So, like, the speed, I think Halstead kind of shut it down a little bit more. So that kind of turned things up the middle. And, man, Terran Kraft had his best game of the young season so far, 132 yards. So that seemed impressive to me.
I had it for 129. That's closer than I thought it was going to be.
Give yourself credit.
Right.
Give yourself credit.
But no, you're right. I mean, and then the offensive line just wore him down. I think he got the gains gained were bigger as he went along. But that offensive line is pretty big, obviously, with Hoffman and the Hoffmans and everybody. So it was impressive. I'm not sure the press box was that impressive as far as I was concerned, but we had issues
it's
there.
all about Hesh, right?
Yeah, it is all about me and G. Manweiler, man.
I mean, I heard the story that because you're in the press box, but you're on the second level like a riser.
They have a riser there, and we were on the second level. Gene actually sat in the corner on the lower level, So we were like 10, 15 feet apart. So as he said, we had no body language because we weren't that close to each other, and neither one of us could see the scoreboard. So, and they didn't have the field mark. It was a good day, good game for you to miss, Cole.
And they didn't let you go outside.
My impression was that he was not going to let us go outside because the fans in the stands at Halstead had issues with broadcasters in the area before. So,
how many broadcasters are there?
Yeah,
in
exactly.
The
Like, how many are coming to broadcast Halstead games?
Well, maybe it was Hoisington 2 years ago. I don't know. But
If they want to talk trash, that's fine. But like you're going to get upset because there's a broadcaster in the stand taking up 2 spots, maybe 3 spots.
he was bound to determine we were not going to sit outside.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay.
That's
but,
tough.
But
Later in the
Hoisington
year,
looked good. And, Tony Moore did his efficient passing again. I don't know what the
Yeah.
numbers were, but 6 out of 9 or something.
6 out of 13.
6 out of 13, okay.
6 out of 13, did throw his first interception.
And that was a terrible. Did you see it?
I did see
Oh,
it.
man, that was terrible. I don't know who he was throwing it to.
Yeah, I mean,
well, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Receiver broke his pattern.
Well, I will say this. First 2 weeks of the season, through the air, Tony Moore, 192 yards, week 1, 133 yards, week 2. So you talk about 325 yards passing in 2 weeks for a Hoisington quarterback. I will check by
Okay, 'cause
tomorrow.
I'm
It might be the first time in my 10 years that a quarterback has thrown back-to-back games 100-plus.
What a weapon.
And that's going to be beneficial down the stretch, too, obviously, as they play better teams. His arm.
Yeah.
You running those teams that can, and I think he's one of those that he can. I mean, if you do have to throw a little bit more, it's not something you have to run out of the offense, or it's got to be play action where you're trying to trick him all the time, go for the home run ball. I think he's good enough where you can just get those 10, 11-yard plays. You got one that's going to work. So.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that set up. They set up a screen pass to Taryn Kraft in the first half. So, I mean, that was something that they really worked nicely with a guy like Hunter Hanslick back in the day. You saw Wyatt Pettigo get a few of those screen passes because then you get them going in open space and, watch out. So, so we'll see how much they orchestrate that into, this offense with Kraft and whoever playing the fullback. But, yeah, I think it's really nice. And still, he hasn't shown everything. Like, through 2 weeks, they haven't really needed to rely, okay, Tony, you got to carry the game this week. And, maybe we'll see that later on, week 5 against Pratt, maybe against Larned. I don't know. But, maybe we'll see one of those games where he really, really need him. But it really hasn't been the case. And again, with that defense, this defense is starting to get really, really exciting because that's also back-to-back weeks where they've had a defensive touchdown. Week 1, they had the scoop and score by Taylor Morales. And then, this last Friday night at Halstead, you had Mason Martin return about a 99-yard pick 6. So, man, that's just exciting for you guys, playmakers on both sides. And, you talk a lot about Mason Martin's a guy that kind of excites me. Just a sophomore, ultimate competitor, wants to be really, really good. He's got that mindset, I think, that he wants to leave that Hoisington legacy, right? He wants to be really, really good, and he's a really good basketball player. But, now during the football season, this is the guy that wants to make plays, and I kind of compare him, similar name with Carson Mason is kind of in that same boat. They're both getting a lot of playing time, especially on defense, and those two guys really are kind of those difference makers that can make those big plays, and it's going to be fun watching them grow up their sophomore year.
What's going to happen Friday?
Friday, I would expect a nice Hoisington comfortable win. That's where I'll put that one. Lions is struggling again. They've been outscored 66-0 in their first 2 weeks. 6-0 ball game against Nickerson week 1, but they're having their struggles as well. Larned put it on them 60-0 this past Friday night, and it's just a team watching that Larned game that. Did you watch any of the Nebraska football game this past weekend? Because it reminded me of that. Because anything that could go wrong might go wrong, like with Nebraska. Like they had a guy go in motion and the snap went off his thigh, and they fumbled it on the ground. Like that was kind of what was going on with Larned. Like they had a guy get pushed back into the punt, and their own teammate blocked the punt, and Larned recovered at the 20. So it's just a team still figuring things out. Deacon Showalter switches over from tight end. He's playing quarterback this year, but yeah, just the playmakers aren't there. It's just it's tough to watch.
Thoughts on 2A scores from Friday night?
2A scores. Well, first I want to give a shout-out to Ross Coombs, head coach, Phillipsburg Panthers, former Hoisington assistant for a number of years. He got his first win of his coaching career as they picked up a win against Oakley. So they're now 1-1, and they played Smith Center close in week 1 as well. So, shout-out to Coach Coombs. Other than that, we were talking high on Garden Plain in week 1 win against Conway Springs. Maybe doesn't look as good. Conway got roughed up again this week, last week. But they played Cheney. Cheney, so Cheney, took it to him. So you can't really gauge that a whole lot. Southeast, as you mentioned, getting that type. I expected them to win against Beloit, but to blast them 52-6. Yeeks.
Yeah,
yeah. So, but I also think that propels them into the top 5. So they come in at number 4 this week in the K-Preps poll. Right behind them, I had been voting Ellsworth either a 3 or 4 since the beginning of the season, but now they make the top 5. Everyone, bought into Ellsworth after Silver Lake lost, Rossville lost. So now those 2 East teams go down. Now you have 3 teams in the West with Hoisington followed by Southeast and Ellsworth in 3, 4, and 5 in Class 2A, all trailing Nemaha Central and Sabetha.
Okay. Locally, we'll have J.D. Kleeman here tomorrow, talk some Central Plains football.
You going to get some Ellenwood vibes on the show?
We tried.
Get the Eagles on right now. They're riding high.
We were working on it.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a little, that was supposed to be today.
Okay.
But see, these coaches sometimes have to teach classes, so we try to work that out. Yeah, Ellenwood, they're going good. We'll talk to, Larned could be interesting. I mean, they've got Smoky Valley this week,
right?
Then they have Nickerson.
That would be a win. You would hope.
Yeah, and you still got Southwestern Heights on there.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows where Cimarron's at?
Right.
Lakin is always typically a good record, but
right.
might shape out to be an okay game. So yeah, I mean that's for first year coach.
That comes out pretty good as far as Hoiston's schedule goes. I mean, you've got Pratt week 5, right?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to last year. There's just not a lot of substance to the schedule as far as competition goes. And I'm not saying, he's so arrogant he expects them to win every game. But, realistically, we're talking here on a sports show. I mean, you look at the schedule, and Heston's a good game week 1. Pratt's a great game in week 5. And then you have some, games that are interesting just because of the history, because of the rivalries. With Larned would be one of those games. But as far as teams that, you think they're really going to prepare you for the postseason and continue to get you better, it's just not there. I mean, you look at Lions this Friday night, you follow that game up with Southwestern Heights, then you follow that game with Pratt, then you come back, I don't remember, I think it's Lakin after that. And Lakin will be fun going out to their place, nice facility, but that game was ugly last year in Hoisington. And then you have Cimarron, who's had their struggles. So there's just not a whole lot of highly competitive games on the schedule. But there's games that you kind of look forward to for different reasons. So, but hopefully that allows some of these guys, like we talked about the sophomores, and Mason Martin, Carson Mason, C.J. Bryant will be getting into the mix. That's the guy that kind of excites me. We talked about him at the Jamboree, guy that came over from Great Bend, and he's going to be eligible. So, yeah, those types of things, you get those guys mixed into the fold. That's kind of exciting.
How was the wedding?
The wedding was good. Besides the fact that it started out because obviously in Nebraska, so I was watching the Huskers game before.
Was there any conversation about the fact that the Nebraska game was? What time did the wedding start?
Started about 4:30.
Oh well. Yeah, by then.
They already had multiple drinks since then. So.
Right, and it was pretty much done at that time. So
it was good. It was good because I had to actually, because my job we talked about was just wrangling the kids, and so they were the ring bearers, and so just getting them in line, and everything was great during the rehearsal the night before. Everything was great in the morning leading to the wedding, and it was awesome. They had great vibes going in, and then 2 minutes before the wedding party is lined up, and the little one Dax is like, he didn't want to hold his sign because they had to hold these signs going up the aisle. It was an outdoor wedding, and so he's down on the floor, he's down on the ground, throwing a fit. And this is 30 seconds prior to him needing to go down the aisle. So for me, I was like, I was trying to sweet talk anything that I could into his ear just to get him down the aisle. Go, 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 go. And he was lagging behind the two other boys, his brother and his cousin. And eventually, like halfway down the aisle, he put on the Jets and he caught up and he eventually made it to his seat. So
you were trying to be nice? You didn't pull out the...
Well, no, because in that moment right there, in the heat of the moment, if you elect to go with vicious like this, I'm throwing down the ultimatum. It's either going to go it's probably going to go further south. Is what's going to happen because he's going to throw the ultimate fit and he is going to shut down, and you're going to be carrying him down the aisle, or he's going to be exited off the aisle. So, like in that moment, you can't choose to throw down like, "Hey, I'm about ready to wallop you on the bottom here if you don't shape out." Because like at that moment, he's just going to completely close. So it was sweet talk or nothing right there. Hey, Dax, we really need you to get going, buddy. If you go, you can play on the tractor playground over there after this is all over, okay? And they have M&Ms at the reception and popcorn.
Did you follow through on those?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because that was the nice part. After the ceremony was over, the official stuff, the fancy-wancy stuff, the kids could run amok. Like, it didn't really matter because I went back to the reception hall, sat down, ate, drank. The kids were having a great time outside with the playground.
Where are the kids at? Well, I don't know.
My responsibility after 30 minutes past the wedding ceremony.
Cole, appreciate it. Have a good call on Friday. Cole Reif, voice of the Houston Cardinals. They'll be on 100.7 Eagle Country on Friday night from Elton Brown Field. Sports Day rolling on after that.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Reif, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back. Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. The well-oiled, planned machine that kind of went south today. But we will continue. And this wait a second. Late breaking news here.
Got the incentives for Chris Jones.
Okay, perfect.
For his contract this year. So he gets $1 million for 35 if he plays 35% of the time. And then another $1 million for 50%. And at 10 sacks, he gets $1.25 million. This was already on the deal. This was all pre-existing. However, they did add it's 15 sacks for $500,000 more. So if he hits 15, he gets another $500,000 added on top of that. If he gets a first-team All-Pro appearance and a Super Bowl appearance, that's $1 million. And if he wins Defensive Player of the Year and a Super Bowl win, that's $2 million. So bumps it up to where he's going to make $19.5 million on the year. However, it has the opportunity to make up to $25 million.
So let's get this straight. We're going to pay you, what, $11 million? I don't know what he's getting. That's a lot of money. Your job is to sack the quarterback. See that guy back there? Sack him. But if you do your job well, what are they hiring?
I kind of like it. I do. I mean, he's obviously playing for a contract next year and beyond that.
And in the mind of Chris Jones, if he hits some of these incentives. Like if he makes a first-team All-Pro and they get to the Super Bowl,
I love it.
It's going to be he's going to have a high asking price. Yeah, and I'm sure that's when the Chiefs, I'll be curious to see if they're going to re-sign him or if they're going to let some other team foot the bill for another elite season from Chris Jones. But if he can get 15 sacks and a Defensive Player of the Year, probably goes a pretty long way towards the Chiefs being able to repeat in their efforts to become back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, I really like the incentives in there because I like this a heck of a lot better than giving him a 4-year extension where he's already got his money. This is much better.
Just like we were saying earlier, just a masterclass from Brett Veach, not flinching when Chris Jones started the holdout, but some nice incentives that Jones should be able to hit, and both sides. Kansas City still comes out on top, but I guess both sides are happy enough to continue into the 2023 season.
So the Chiefs in Jacksonville, that's going to be a noon start on Sunday. So, yeah, that's the way it usually is. 11 o'clock on B104.3 The Point.
Looking forward to seeing Patrick Mahomes versus Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, it's two teams playing against each other, but just going to be a lot of comparisons between the two. Trevor Lawrence came into the league as the number 1 pick. Super insanely hyped. Coming out of Clemson, was talked about as maybe the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck, maybe even going back to Peyton Manning or John Elway, depending on how far back you wanted to go with it. Now, actually getting to see some of that promise from Trevor Lawrence. He had a very rough and rocky first season under Urban Meyer, but Doug Peterson has taken over. We saw a lot of improvement from Trevor Lawrence last year, especially in the final 8 weeks of the season. And I'm excited to see if Trevor Lawrence can continue that with his new target that the Jaguars traded from the Falcons this offseason, Calvin Ridley. Coming off that year-long gambling suspension, really looked very good in Week 1. Going to be a tall task for the Chiefs secondary to contain.
A year-long gambling suspension. Just remember that, Corson. Okay. Just
After my Chiefs debacle, I got suspended anyway. You guys don't want me out there anymore.
Okay. Here's your high school lineup, Week 3, Great Bend at Bueller. I think you'll squeeze in the press box there.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah,
for
okay.
Nice accommodations.
Hayes at Manhattan, Liberal at Topeka, Wichita West at Garden City, Dodge City at Wichita South, Lions at Hoisington, Smoky Valley 0-2 at Larned 1-1. It's homecoming at Larned.
It's going to be
Tribe could be 2-1.
Going to be a big moment for Brady Keith in his young coaching career, trying to move to 2-1. That first week, played a talented Pratt team that they kind of got an experience to high school football there for him. Second week, able to get back on track against a Lions team that historically maybe hasn't been the stoutest opponent. So Week 3 looking like it could be a real nice measuring stick for the Larned Indians.
Halstead, who Houston beat last week, they will be at Pratt. Heston is 0-2, hosting Hillsboro in the Mennonite Bowl in Heston on Friday night. Trojans are 2-0. Heston obviously played a much tougher schedule. Nickerson is at Haven. Okay, Ellenwood at home against Stanton County. Ellenwood, 2-0 for the first time since 1998. When was the last time they were 3-0?
Going to have to dig deep into the record to find that one.
Stanton County will come in 1-1. Smith Center at Russell. This one intrigues you, Hesh.
Yes, it does. I'm off on Friday. I don't have to do any games or anything, so I'm thinking if Landon can hold down the fort here with all the games going on, I was thinking about making a short trip to Russell. Russell's 2-0. We've talked about it. Smith Center, traditional power. I think it could be a good game, and Russell likes to throw the ball, correct?
I think they're pretty balanced.
Okay.
Again, Plainville is at TMP. Plainville's 0-2, TMP 2-0. Ellsworth at Sacred Heart. Sedgwick, looks like they're back. They've rolled in their first 2 games. They play at Sterling, who is 1-1. Okay, Kinsley at Maxville. Central Plains at La Crosse. Mentioned J.D. Klima will be in here tomorrow. The former Claflin Wildcat, who played with Aaron Beck, now coaching Central Plains. At La Crosse, who comes off a loss to Victoria. I mean, Central Plains is a surprise for me, although it's always nice when you hire a coach and you bring in, coach's kid, Hunter Klima. I guess he's pretty good, sophomore. That helps. St. John puts up 68 points last week. Now they get Otis Bison. The Cougars are 0-2. St. John is 1-1. Central Christian at Stafford. Ness City. Ooh, boy, they've struggled this year. 0-2 at Victoria. Hodgman County. And, of course, we're the official radio station of the Hodgman County Road and Bridge Department. They are at Spearville, who is 0-2. Attic Argonia at Skyline. Little River at El Saline. Kiowa County at South Central. 6-man. Cunningham at Chase. A Thursday game.
A 6-man Thursday game. That's the pinnacle of football season.
That game moved to Thursday. They're having problems finding officials for that game. And Pawnee Heights is at Tesket. So there's your Friday night football schedule. We're going to take a break. More Sports Day. We will preview Mike Corson's race in Eugene, Oregon, coming up on Sunday. And are you going to give us reports, live reports here on Sports Day?
The schedule did not work out.
You're going to have to be sending me texts, though. Especially, I'm expecting a text by 10 a.m. Pacific time, or West Coast time,
but there's some
on the
events.
results of your race. That way I can have them in the Monday Sportscast for the people. They're going to want to know.
And I'll have to do some math. There are some events going on Friday, so maybe you can get a report, but no action until Saturday and Sunday.
So you're just kind of going out there
party.
I have never been to the West Coast, so I'm going to hit Seattle.
I'm just going to tell you, you'll fit in good out there with that.
Portland is calling. Keep it weird, Portland. We'll see how weird you want to get.
I think you'll fit in well out there. So you'll be amongst your folk.
I got my Rastafarian hat, my dreads. I'm already tattooed.
You're going to fit right
I like books. Portland has the biggest bookstore in the world.
They didn't burn down?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Sports Day rolls on after.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
At NextTech Wireless, it's wireless on your terms. You pick a 36, 24, or 18-month agreement and get a device on us like the iPhone 14 or the new Google Pixel 7. Stuck in a contract with your current provider? Switch now and get up to $1,000 per line. For more details, stop by your nearest NextTech Wireless location today or call or text our customer care team at 877-621-2600. NextTech Wireless, home on the range.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
I had a young gal come in the other day who has been having chronic back pain. Did a session just helping her to understand her pain, not understanding her back, but teaching her how her nervous system works. And just that knowledge just calmed her down so much. She came back in this morning, huge smile on her face, and she was so excited to learn more. It was a blast.
Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of Your Local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Barton Community College helped me get a jump start on college with early college opportunities. With Barton's help, I earned my degree at the same time I graduated from high school. You can take classes on campus, online, and even at your high school with teachers you already know. With tuition rates starting at $50 per credit hour for select Kansas high school audiences and scholarship opportunities, it is easier than ever. Barton Community College helped me get one step closer to my dream, and it can help you too. Learn more at highschool.bartoncccc.edu.
Now, in its second decade. It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome back, Sports Day here. Kind of, one of those kind of laid-back days, I guess, here on the program. Steve Webster, Aaron Clark, Mike Corson, Mike Hesher, and the always excitable Landon Winkler in the background back there. I know you're excited about going to Oregon. And are you going to go stand at the steps of the old police station when you're in town? Or
No. So it starts with the flight. I've never been on a commercial jet, but I am a frequent watcher of air disasters on Smithsonian. So it's become a bucket list to be like an extra on that show because the actors are awesome on there. But if something should happen, I just want you guys to reach out. Matthew McConaughey, we have a request. He'd like you to play him in the flight to Oregon.
Your big line can be things like so that you hit some turbulence and things are not all right.
L-I-V-I-N.
So what are you more excited about, going to Oregon or the fact they found a limpkin out at Cheyenne Bottoms?
Well, Oregon, but the limpkin, as I learned yesterday, it's a tropical bird species and it's up here. So if you read those birding books, sometimes when there's big windstorms and stuff, you will find crazy birds in crazy locations. Yeah. And then if you put that out, these people will fly in to see that bird that might never get a chance to see that bird. So that's what Curtis Wolf was talking about yesterday.
Yeah, we had a limpkin out at Cheyenne. Never had been seen out there before.
That is a sport we don't often cover on Sports Day, is birding. The big year. How many species did you check off your list this year?
That's what we should. We should start a bird watching competition amongst KVGB so you can see the most birds in the course of like a sports season. Well, because we all travel around for different sports, like we're all going different places around the state. Who can see the most on your journeys when you're heading to
grackle, sparrow?
If you go into the northern part, the red-winged blackbird is prominent. We don't get those a whole lot down here, but in Nebraska, that's all you see.
Okay, so
yeah.
All right, well, let's try to check in with you here as you're covering. What event are you covering? Is it called the big old track meet?
So it is the Prefontaine Classic. So normally it's just going to be one of the premier events in the country, but for this year, they're bringing in the Diamond League, which is the professional league. So if you watch the World Championships, it's going to be a lot of those same people. The pole vault women who shared the World Championship will be there. Noah Lyles will be there with his World Championship ring, unlike the FIBA guys. Sha'Carri Richardson will be on the girls' side. A couple Norway world record holders. The Jamaican 200 girl wanted to break the world record this last week, didn't get it. So I'm hoping to see a threat to a world record. Unlike my own race, where trying to get around the track.
The 42 and U record doesn't stand a chance once it sees you coming towards it. I don't know what it currently is, but I don't need to know that you're going to knock it out of the park.
I like to think the real athletes will be in the stands watching, cheering.
Well, they're going to have to be doing what the media guys usually do. So they're going to have to be watching you guys trying to get close without getting too close, trying to see if you can get the best picture, who runs out of their battery on a camera.
On the show tomorrow,
hopefully,
Central Plains head coach J.D. Klima, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, Gerard Wabrock, and Aaron Clark goes on the prowl with Zach Bartle, talking Great Bend Panther tennis here on Chula